This is Jackie Capstick, and this is my podcast, The Natural Healing Real. Today, my guest is Maria Finch, and she is a self-discovery coach, and she has specialized in building herself a system and a course that she coaches us all in. It's more of a deep dive into who you are, and it's called Silence the Mindcluck, which sounds good for probably all of us at this point. I'm going to introduce you to Maria, and she can share with us how this all came about. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me on here, Jackie. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Pleasure's mine.
Yeah. Well, so I start out by specifically stating what I do. So I'm just going to give you these couple sentences to start with, just to set the framework. So high achievers hire me to silence the mind cluck that leaves them feeling unsatisfied or perhaps even downright miserable despite their success. I guide them to tune into their inner intelligence to build and execute strategies that shift them from feeling frustrated AF to being the queens or kings of their lives.
That sounds awesome. And how do we?
Well, so I like to start by just defining mind cluck. I think mind cluck is something that everybody on earth experiences. And I think that especially if you've gone through trauma and loss. And I mean, right now, I think everyone in the world is going through some form of trauma and loss. So the way I define mind cluck is it's the voices in your mind, so we've all got voices in our mind that tell us things. And these are the voices that come from self-doubt, second guessing, fears, assumptions, having someone else's opinion be above your own, things that we watch or read or listen to, and then all of the irrational reasoning that can go along with that. So when your mind starts clucking at you, you might go from having gotten up in the morning and thinking, okay, I'm going to get all these things done, or simply like, I'm going to get dressed and, have some sort of a productive day, depending on if you're in deep grief or wherever you are in your life. And so you could go from having great intentions to thinking cluck starts and you think, I'm going to hit the couch and binge watch Netflix. Like I can't do anything right now. So I am all about guiding people to learn how to quiet those voices so that they can hear their inner intelligence. I believe that every person on earth has inner intelligence, but not everyone on earth is tuned into it or knows how to tune into it. And I maintain that when you tune into your inner intelligence, then just everything in your day is easier. Decisions are easier. You'll find you're less reactive in situations where you might normally be reactive, and you can just approach life from a more powerful position.
Wow. That's so awesome, because that's exactly what we all need to do. And everybody's sharing it in a different way, but that just seemed very natural and easy to understand.
Good.
How do you go about sharing? Like, could you give us a few things that you would share with somebody to get started?
Absolutely. So if you'd like, I can share with you, to start with, I can share with you 5 practical tips that are easy to do and easy to remember that will enable someone to push away mind cluck. And I'm using the word push for a specific reason. Shall I start with that?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So when your brain is clucking at you, so it's saying you can't do this, you're not good enough, whatever negative message you're getting, and you want to push that message away, just remember push. So P-U-S-H, and I'm throwing in an extra H, so it's push. So P stands for physical, which means get up and move. So this could be as simple as taking a lap around the room you're in, or clenching every muscle you have and holding it and relaxing it, Or if you have more time, go running, play tennis. There's all kinds of things you can do. You can also get very creative with this. So, for example, at a time that I was very frustrated, I once filled up a bunch of water balloons and threw them at a wall. And it made me feel much, much better. I apologize for my dog talking in the background. Calla, stop. Sorry about that.
Oh, good. We're good with dogs.
I don't know why she is not happy with me right now. But anyway, so first thing, push away Mindcluck, get physical, get moving. U stands for unburden. So as many of us read and know, and many people do, you can unburden yourself by writing in a journal. I like to suggest that if you have thoughts that you actually don't really want to keep around, I would write it on paper that you can destroy, and then get creative and have fun in the way that you destroy it. So you might rip it to shreds. You might have your pet rip it to shreds. You might take it outside or put it in your fireplace and have a little bonfire, crumple it up and drive it over, run over it with your car. You're just getting rid of this. Another way to unburden is to talk to someone else. So one of the things that I think is really important about unburdening in that way is you want to tell whoever you're talking to that you are venting, and that what you need them to do is support you, to listen, to nod, to say, wow, that sounds really hard, or whatever you would find supportive. It's not the time for people to be jumping in with solutions, because usually when we're ready to vent, we're not ready for solutions. So this is a good thing to remember. And one of the things that's very important is whoever you're talking to might not know that. They might not know that you're not asking them to solve anything. You're just asking them to be present and be kind. So I think it's a really good idea to specifically state that. The flip side of that is that when you yourself are someone that is being vented towards, to remember, even if you have the greatest ideas in the world, it's not the time to share them. So you can talk to a person and vent out everything that's going on in your mind. You can also talk to an animal. When you do that, I just remember that animals pick up on energy, so try not to be too angry or anything. I mean, I have a client whose dog is so responsive that the dog will like kiss her and nod and seems like the dog is listening. So pets can really be a great comfort. So, and there are other methods of unburdening. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of stuff to get people going. So P, get moving, U, unburden. Then we get to S. So for this is a great exercise that you can do anywhere at any time, and no one will know you're doing it, which makes it all the more useful should you need it at a time when you're like going into a presentation or whatever you might be doing. So S stands for senses, as in 5 senses. So see, hear, smell, touch, taste. So what you do is wherever you are, you just take an inventory of your senses. So what do you see? And I recommend that you look for something that you like. So it could be a color, a flower, a person, a pet. If you're in a space where you're not seeing something that's meaningful to you, then just bring up a memory of a sight that gives you comfort, joy, love, any of the good emotions. Then do the same thing for hearing. And again, if you don't hear a sound you love, then think of one you love. So favorite music, the sound of a beloved person's voice. There's all kinds of nice sounds in the world. Then see, hear, smell, same thing. It can be really strange to be like, I don't smell anything. But one of the interesting things about this exercise is you might find you actually do smell something. And then touch the thing. It's like you might say, oh, well, I'm not touching anything right now, but we're usually wearing clothes. And so you can think like, oh, this shirt I'm wearing is so soft or whatever. And then finally, taste, same thing. Think of a taste or taste what you're tasting. So the point of this exercise is that you're telling your mind what to think about, and that will stop Mindcluck, because we all can only have one thought in our minds at a time. It's one of the beautiful things about the brain. Okay, first H is hug. So there are researchers who have determined that if you hug someone for 20 seconds, that it will calm your system down. 20 seconds is actually a very long time. So you want to make sure that you really love the person you're hugging. You can also, some pets like to be hugged. So hug something that is giving you a physical response. And then last H is it's just putting your hand on your heart. So I recommend that you go to a quiet spot, wherever that may be. If you don't have a quiet spot in your house, get in a closet, go to your bathroom, if you need to hide away from kids, whatever, just go somewhere. And if you just sit and put your hand over your heart and focus on that connection, you will find it's another way to calm your system. The heart, of course, is about love, and it's a part of way of bringing up love into your midst. So these are all ways that you can interrupt Mindcluck as it's happening. There are layers of Mindcluck. So some Mindcluck can actually be solved by doing one of these exercises. You do it, you solve it, and that Mindcluck doesn't come back. But there are layers of Mindcluck. So if you have Mindcluck that's coming from some kind of deep insecurity or a past experience, there's all kinds of ways, as I know Jackie, that we get things imprinted on us. So when you have Mindcluck that keeps coming back around and actually ends up inhibiting you in accomplishing what you want to accomplish, in goals, in relationships, just in your sense of satisfaction and well-being in life. That's what I really focus on in my coaching practice, is getting into the deeper stuff so that you can clear that out. If you have limiting beliefs, to reset them and shift them to beliefs that really serve you well. And then to really be able to hear your inner intelligence and decide, am I happy with this job, this relationship, this place in my life? Or, what is my inner intelligence telling me? Like, maybe I am a CEO and really I want to be an artist. I mean, I'm giving you an extreme example, but you never know how that's going to come up. So I work with people to help them tune into that. For people who are dealing with loss and grief, the kind of Mindcluck that I myself have experienced in loss and grief can be different from, Mindcluck of like, I got to get this done or whatever. But that kind of Mindcluck can be even more profound and even more debilitating. And that's where it's about learning how to understand, where is that coming from? What purpose is it serving? Because I believe all Mindcluck serves a purpose. And at face value, we might not understand what that purpose is. But when you start to talk about it and understand, like, where does that come from? I believe that there are gifts you can find in Mindcluck that can help guide you on the path forward.
Wow. Very, very incredible. Each one of those is just on its own potent.
Yeah.
I've been on this journey for a long time and clearing out the debris, the old story patterns, and boy, they are layers. But I'm going to give push a try, and use. I'm going to use this because I see that. I see that it would be really very. I think it'd just clear out the rest of whatever I was working on.
Yeah, well, and the truth is, so the 5 things that I mentioned in push, those are 5 things that, like, it's easy. So you think of a hand pushing away, it's easy to remember, but there are a bazillion different ways that you can interrupt Mindcluck. Those are just 5, but I find, and another thing I wanted to say is that, something that might be super effective for one person might not be effective for someone else. You kind of got to try them and figure out what's best for you. I mean, some people, the physical part, they like to punch a pillow or tape together an old box and then take a hammer and smash it, or, or it could be punch a punching bag, or it could be do yoga. There's all kinds of different ways that you can employ these, and you can get very creative and you can make it true to you, which is part of what I love about these kinds of exercises.
I think this is exactly what we need to be sharing, or just these tools. And
Yeah.
because it's that mind stuff that you get caught in that loop and that story. And boy, I could go down for months at a time sometimes, and
Oh,
just
yeah.
lost in the reality that whatever's happening, that they're, like you just get it's incredible. And then to come to clarity and have the epiphany of, okay, right, it's not really real, it's just me. Just
Yeah.
that it's so, but we don't know that. We haven't been taught that.
Yeah. Right. And I think, like, right now, just using COVID as an example. So now things with COVID, at least in the United States, like it's becoming like there are fewer infections and stuff, but people have been traumatized by COVID. So even though their risk might be greatly reduced, they might still be operating like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified I'm going to get COVID. Well, at some point that becomes noise that might inhibit you, as opposed to looking at, like, what are the facts? So part of silencing Mindcluck is analyzing what the Mindcluck is and then saying, is this fact? Is this a belief? Is this an opinion? Is it true?
Right.
Because so often I think the Mindcluck that we have is not true, but for whatever reason, we're telling ourselves this. And again, it can be debilitating.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you've got brain trauma going on.
Sure.
Myself, I had lots of it, and just a high, big car crash type thing. And
Oh,
when you've got
sorry.
that happening, it's very hard because you're healing on so many different levels, that to try and keep that loop from,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyways, it's all of that work comes into us for a reason, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, one of the things I've learned about Mindcluck, both for myself and for people that I've worked with, is that Mindcluck is there to help you. It might not seem like it, but it is actually there to help you. And so when you can kind of trace that back and understand, okay, what is this doing? Because often it's trying to protect you in some way. And it might be that the protection is not really needed, but your brain thinks it is. And so just understanding and being able to be like, oh, you know what? Actually, that isn't something I need to worry about. That will silence it forever, potentially.
Yeah, it's exciting work. I love it. I've been
Yeah.
sharing some of these work with a friend, and just watching the momentum and the awareness of, holy cow, right? Like we all
Yeah.
have this great fun ability to do these, just to tap in, listen,
Yeah.
and be guided, and you just have that internal knowing of what you need to do. It's what I've been experiencing. It's pretty fun, very powerful,
Yeah.
very.
Yeah. And to me, it's such a relief, because if you're kind of held prisoner by thinking like, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, and then you go, wait a minute, actually, I'm fine. It changes everything. Not only am I fine, but I'm actually a powerful person. I have incredible gifts to offer the world, etc. So tuning into that and making sure that you're aware of what your gifts are and how you want to share them. Because I think we all feel best when we're sharing our greatest strengths. And so part of getting to that is silencing Mindcluck, because you can't really recognize all of that when you've got all of these, different things going on in your mind, which I think everybody does. And I think people learn how to either, well, people who I think end up being the most fulfilled and satisfied and successful are the people who learn how to truly silence it. So they learn how to heal.
Well, I'll tell you what, the times that I've had where I have had this is the easiest way for me to go to drop within, to silence the mind, is to go with the hand on the heart, which
Uh-huh.
brings me then kind of into that brain heart coherence, just very,
Hmm.
very quickly,
Hmm.
just breathe in and out and in and out. And you just land somewhere that we don't know. And the
Yeah.
longer I can stay in that space, it's the best feeling in the whole world. It's just, there's this space and there's this, it's just an exhilaration. It's such a clean, easy, sunny, bright place of yourself that, we need to learn to know how to connect into that, because
Yeah.
that's what
Ab-
we're here to be, I believe, is just that light and that love. And meanwhile, we're
right.
all walking around that we're not enough, and so-and-so's judging us, and we're all just beating each other up and beating ourselves up, and we're not
Right.
even aware, because it's in the subconscious mind.
Right. Right.
Those those stories, though, that you're talking about, breaking them down,
Mhm.
it this is the best way, is to do this push to break down the old patterns, do you believe?
I think it's a place to start. Again, not these particular 5 methods won't work for everybody, but where I would start is trying them out and seeing where you get to. And I have a million more of them. Um,
So we can
but
look you up and get in for a coaching session, is what we could do. Or do you have classes that you do online, or how are you?
So at this point, I am doing one-on-one coaching. I will be offering classes later on in 2022.
Nice.
But for now, it's one-on-one. And for anyone who's interested, I start with the free consultation. And this is just to understand where you are, understand where you'd like to go to, and then just chat a bit to see if we're a good fit. And then we go from there. So, and that's free. If you go to my website, which is www.silencethemindcluck.com, you can send me an email and I will get back to you and we can book a time.
Yeah, I think that we could all use some of these tools that you're sharing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're
Oh,
nice, quick ones too, right? Like
yeah. Yeah.
they're powerful and quick. Yeah.
Right. Also on my website, you can download a handout that is about push. So it gives you more details. So if you'd like to get that, just go to the website and then you can have that handy whenever you need something to refer to.
That's awesome. No, that's
Yeah.
really, really great. And so what else is really on your heart that you feel is important for us to know? Like, what do you really want to? What do you think is important for you right now that you want to share?
So I think so my goal is to be connecting people to another way of looking at things. And so basically, like, I'm in a process of trying to draw in people who share this perspective that we can all offer love and our gifts to the world. And the more people, I believe, the more people who try to approach life from that perspective, then the more we lift each other up. And I think anyone would agree that right now, the world is a pretty ugly place. And I think the more people that can try and approach life with consciousness. So understanding that, sure, we all get into frustrating situations every day and we might get mad and say the wrong thing or push somebody, like, I don't mean push someone literally, but I mean, like, just be asserting ourselves in a way that maybe isn't um, the nicest way possible. That's okay. That's being human. But if more people are trying most of the time to be conscious and to say, oh, you know what, before I honk my horn at that car, I'm going to wonder, like, maybe they have someone in their car that's ill. Maybe they're dashing to meet a loved one. Let's just like try and give everybody a little bit of a break and not assume that they tried to cut me off because they're a jerk. That's just one example. But I think by being examples ourselves of trying to live consciously with gentleness, with love, with kindness. I think the more we can share that with other people, the better off we're all going to be. And I realize that sounds very idealistic, but that is my belief.
I think it has to be the main intention right now, because
Yeah.
people they're not making it. There's so many that believe they're, it's just them or they're on their own. And so we all need to talk and we need to share, and we do need to lift and love each other instead of stepping and judging and looking down our nose at each other. It kills us, the person that's giving the judgment more than, but it does that. It's just such a low vibration, and it's not healthy
Yeah.
for anybody.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I think about compassion. So it's have compassion for yourself, of course, but have as much compassion as you can for other people. Yes, there are jerks in the world, and we all accept that there are jerks in the world. And when you encounter a jerk, you're going to be human and you're going to deal with the jerk as you do. But I think as much as you can try and show compassion and understand, like, you're not in someone else's skin and you don't really know what they're going through. And so instead of judging or making assumptions, just try to be like an open sounding board that's listening and reflecting back in a kind way.
They call that holding a space of love.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sounds like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I just don't think that is, we need to bring that mainstream, which is what our intention is.
Absolutely.
Right? But I just believe that there's just so many people that if they just hear it, they'll go, yeah. But sometimes we just need to be brought back to the forefront, right? That is who we are. And that's
right.
what our focus needs to be. And boy, then your day changes too.
It does. It's so much, like, I think about this with every encounter I have. So this doesn't have to be with people that you know well. Like, I think about it when I'm at the grocery store or walking my dog. It's like, anyone you see, give them a smile, ask them how, if you have the energy yourself, ask them how they are, compliment them on something. It's really quite simple. And I find, like, say I'm having a bad day, but I go out and my goal is every person I see, I want to give them something that makes them feel good. So whether that's a warm smile, a compliment, sometimes I'll ask a question, because sometimes people, like, someone might just want to know that they're, like, seen, and to ask someone a question can be an offering in a way. And then I find that if I go out and I do that, when I come back, I'm in a much better mood.
Absolutely. That's where it all starts, right? Is you share love. Love is free.
Mm-hmm.
Share it, and then it comes back abundantly, tenfold, hundredfold. And that's just the law of giving, isn't it? And love is the easiest, funnest, best, and it opens our hearts. We end up loving ourselves more, so we can feel more love and accept more love. It's just, there's a win-win all the way around with that.
Yeah. I mean, another exercise that's a good one to do if you're feeling bad, go to a dog park and watch dogs play. Dogs play with joyful abandon. They're not thinking about, yes, sometimes there are skirmishes at a dog park. Don't pay attention to that. But, you can watch dogs just play with joyful abandon, or watch them interact with their owners and see the love that's there. Like, it's quite incredible. And that can also lift your spirits anytime you're feeling down.
Absolutely. Yeah. I pet my dog when I'm feeling low, and it's the love, it's unconditional, and it's a good vibration. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So we're going to put your information with this podcast so people can get a hold of you and get some really amazing, powerful tools to help us out of this intense energy that we're in right now in our world.
Yeah.
Some your thoughts and create some new thoughts filled with light and love, maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do that.
I love it. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you for coming and sharing this time with me.
Thank you
And
for having me.
I'm thinking I'm feeling a book coming on.
Yes, there is one in the works.
Yeah, let me know and share it with us.
Okay, I will.
Well, have a good rest of your day, and thanks for coming on to the Natural Healing Realm.
Thank you, Jackie. Take care.